Alright, welcome back to Phantom X Gaming. We are back in Kerbal Space Program. Today we should land on Minmus. I mean, I did that yesterday, technically. So, I did land on Minmus, and then I did a really crazy takeoff from Minmus that broke the game to the extent that it kept saying that I was landed, would not let me create a maneuver node. It would not let me do anything other than just accelerate aimlessly in some form of direction. And we reached a top speed of about, I think it was like 46,000 kilometers per sec, or meters per second. And I couldn't figure out why we weren't getting any closer to Kerbin. And then eventually, once I had ended the live, I realized that when I left the screen to go back to the Space Center, it glitched again and didn't revert my save. And I went to the map out of curiosity. And this is what we have right here. This little thing right here is yesterday's spacecraft orbiting the sun. It is stuck there. I have no way to do anything with it because it still says that it has landed. And so I can't create maneuver nodes or anything like that. So now we are back to the drawing board trying to figure out what we want to do. So I was thinking that maybe we could go explore one of the outer planets using the exact same spacecraft as yesterday. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat what you guys think I should do. In the meantime, we're going to jump over to the Space Center. And hope it doesn't crash, because that's a thing that happened yesterday when I went to close the game. It is nighttime, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward to sunrise so we can see this massive Space Center that they expanded before I went live yesterday. It is incredibly big. So out of curiosity, you think I should build a new rocket? I mean, I definitely could. Let's go over to the space plane hangar real quick and see if I have a space plane sitting anywhere. Because unless I've removed the mods that were used with it, we should have something that could go pretty far. That's all the stock stuff. I don't use any of that. I don't have anything to work with over here. Really not a whole lot anyways. So it looks like I think this one worked pretty well. Let's take a look at it, see what it looks like. Yeah, so we could do something like this and see what we can get away with. This is something I had built, tested, and then tried to put a massive rocket on top of it and use this as an SSTO. It does work as an SSTO. And I can get it into solar orbit and back without any real issues, and I have landed it. So this is a proven craft. However, you guys think that I should build a new rocket from scratch. Alright, so we'll do that. We'll back out of the space plane hangar and head over to the black screen of death, because it takes forever to load. Jump over to the assembly building and see what we can put together. Now, should this be a massive rocket or should this be a normal rocket? That's the other question. So we're going to start while we wait for the ideas to come in. We'll start, I think, with something reasonable. Start by sorting by size. Go all the way back to the top. How you doing, Cam? Lev, you think we should build a massive one? I think we can make that happen. How about something like that? orbital colony administration deck. Something that attracts the Kraken. I mean, we could definitely see what we can do there. I mean, I have some ideas for that. We could do something like that too. So you want me to see if I can get a Kraken attack. So Cam, what we're doing this stream is we're coming up with your ideas and we are building them and launching them. So let's see. We'll use, let's start off simple. That one is the Kraken. Let's start with something simple. And then, just because we can, and because there is nobody here to stop me, I have 0 supervision, we're going to add a lander can on top of it. And then we're going to put batteries. Yeah, batteries. That's what we need. You want me to add civilian passengers? This is a creative playthrough, so it doesn't actually allow me to do anything other than scientists, pilots, and engineers. If I go to the astronaut complex, that's all I have available to me. May as well hire some more, and hope they don't figure out what actually happens in these playthroughs. Alright, so back to this, we need batteries. So there is somewhere in here a procedural battery that works really well. That's 90% of the former craft. I can't remember what it's called though. Procedural battery. That is what the procedural battery is called. So we'll stick that there. Actually, you know what? I have another terrible idea. Let's stick that there. And we'll increase the diameter. And then we will increase the length. Now we have more than enough battery to go to all of the planets, all of the moons, and all of the things all at once at the same time. And that should do us some good. But if we have a battery this big, we definitely need to, we need to get power generation. We're going to use these because these work really well. It's basically infinite power. What do I need to push? That button. There we go. If I seem a little bit dysfunctional, it is because I definitely am. It's been a very long day, very warm day. I'm going to jump over to here and set these in so they don't do anything that we don't want them to. That looks better. And then we're going to do that, hit that, and click on these and see if we can't sink these in just a little bit. Right to here. That should be good. Whoops, wrong button. Oh, wrong scroll wheel. You had a dentist appointment yesterday, and she asked if you followed the World Cup, and you said you don't. She decided to prescribe you with watching the World Cup. Wow, that is funny. I mean, if you like soccer, and for my European viewers, if you like football, then yeah, definitely watch it. But I mean, personally, I enjoy soccer. I just won't watch it because I'm too busy doing other things. So if I were prescribed, watching a soccer game, then I probably wouldn't do that. But that's just me. Alright, so now we have our baseline here. So if we have a battery that big, we definitely need an electric engine on this. You're a NASCAR fan? I mean, I also don't prefer NASCAR, but there's nothing against it. I just personally don't prefer it. So we're going to use these engines here. We're going to use 4 of them, actually. If you guys want the Kraken attack, we'll go with a full 8 of them. And then we'll sink them into the battery as soon as I find one that looks reasonable. They're all not going to be reasonable. So we're going to sink them in all of the way. So that is now the bottom of our first, or our last stage. Yeah, that does make sense if they're from a place that soccer is a big thing. And then just because we can, and because I would rather not have the Kraken attack just from the launch pad, we're going to sink those up a little bit more. Come on, give it to me. It should be good right there. I'd rather see some of the red. Just a little bit. There we go. What if we tow asteroids around? I mean, we could look around for some, but that would probably take 4 or 5 hours just to find them. Alright, so our initial stage is done there. However, I do need to do one other thing that I forgot to do. We need to be able to control this. So we're going to stick a reaction wheel there. We'll put another SAS wheel there. Change that to SAS. Change this to SAS. And then stick another reaction wheel under that. Whoops. Under that. And leave that on normal, so I also have some control. What if we landed on an asteroid? I mean, like I said, I mean, it'll take a while to find them. We could definitely look around. Use the drills to mine fuel. We could look into that. Yeah, the unknown objects are definitely out there. I mean, I can't jump to the map right now, but there are plenty of unknown objects out there, and they will remain unknown until such time as we discover them, which we may do. We can definitely look into that, see what we can find out there. So now we have our control. I'm gonna stick that back on, and just so I can see where this is, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna change that to SAS. Somewhere in here, there we go. We're going to change that back to normal. Whoops. There we go. Change this to SAS. So now we have our entire control system here that I need to now separate because I forgot to stage it. Go fishing for Krakens at Jewel. We could probably do that as well. So my goal is to stick to just about 2 hours. Last night's live was 3 hours and 8 minutes. So I'd like to stick to a solid 2 hours this time around. Let's see, what decoupler should we use? Somewhere in here is a really good one that I use kind of a lot. Artemis 2. Is that your idea of a name for this rocket? It's what you call your missions in your main save. Okay. You're on Fartabus 9M. Oh, right now. Okay. Wow, that text is small. And that is not your fault, that is my fault for not expanding my window, but I also have 2 other windows I need to be able to see. So somewhere in this list of decouplers is a decoupler that I use, and I can't seem to find it because I am blind. But eventually, if I scroll up and down enough, maybe I'll run into it. Or maybe it'll run into me. Oh, there it is. I knew it. There we go. Stick that there. solution is 3 monitors. Yeah, so in order to see all of the things that I have pulled up right now, I would probably need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd need at least 5 monitors in order to have it completely full screen and big enough for me to see from far away. Alright, so that is our final stage right there. Now, we will eventually, I'm sure, come back into orbit somewhere and land somewhere. Is the ocean floor wet? I mean, I could send a Kerbal down there like I have multiple times before, but they never really came back. They never said anything. 5 divided by 3 is 2.5. I feel like that is incredibly incorrect. Split screen across 5. It would be across 4 technically, because my main screen is what you guys are looking at right here. Alright, so we need fuel. And I'm kind of partial to these, because they're big. But I have to move this entire thing up. Right to there. Then we'll put this here. And then, because Lev has said that he wants to see if we can find the Kraken, we're going to do something a little bit different on this one. We're going to take more of these, and we're going to stick them just like this, right here. And we're going to sink them in to right here. So now we have our initial stage, but we need engines. Think I should do asparagus staging? I could. I know how to. But now I'm invested, and I'm kind of curious as to if we can actually launch this with this many boosters going on here. So we'll do a test launch. But I gotta find the right engine that's not gonna overheat and explode. These are usually good. There we go. So that is our initial rocks. But we need aerodynamics. So we're gonna go with a good old-fashioned nose cone. Just like... whoop, no, there we go. Just like that. Scale that down to about there. I feel like this is just gonna rip off the entire battery. You think I should just build a straight rocket? I mean, we're already invested in this. We gotta test this out. But I am gonna put a quick little staging in here because we don't want anyone to have any mishaps. And we definitely don't want to have to explain why the Kerbals are disappearing. So we're going to stick that there. That is that one down there, hidden between the fairings there. And that's that, that's that. Let's go ahead and put another one of these there. Stick that there. And bring that there. Bring these down here. What are these 8? Oh, these might be the other ones. Which ones? Okay, so those are those. Perfect. But which stage is that one? That's that one. So this needs to go right here. Those are those down there. I mean, it's not wrong. You know, do something like that, and yeah, there will be consequences. I don't think there's any difference between IRL and, you know, the video game. There couldn't possibly be a difference. Staging is incredibly weird sometimes. Now, you watched me do all the staging right there, And it could be that it's screwed up when we get out here to the launch pad. If we ever make it out. Today would be a good century. There we go. I think it heard me. Turn that on, turn that on. Now our thrust to weight ratio with this is 1.93, so it's not terrible. There is a lot going on here, and I have no idea what's going to happen with this, and I forgot the parachutes. Whoops. And we are off the ground. No Kraken attack yet. We're going up through the volumetric clouds. You know, one of these days I might look and see if there's an updated version of the volumetric clouds, but I just haven't had time. So we're still going up. We still have a lot of fuel left. We have over 5 minutes of fuel. I do always mention the clouds just because they are actually really cool. And no, I am not getting paid to mention them or promote them. I just really enjoy them. Because it adds an entire factor to the game that wasn't there for a long time. It does take a lot of resources to have them, you know, a lot of GPU resources, but I personally think it's worth it. I mean, I'm running a 4050, I have a Ryzen 9, it can handle it. I'm running probably close to about 70% of my GPU resources. Okay, we have reached a decent height. We're at 69,000 meters. Zoom out just a little bit, get rid of the sound a little bit. Which do I like better, the mod manager or manually doing it? I think both have their benefits, but for the sake of time and having things work properly, I use CCAN because it does all of the dependencies and all of that stuff for me, and I don't have to worry about it. And then if there's a problem with a mod, or if there's a conflict with other mods, it tells you right then and there and doesn't let you install them. So I enjoy it for that as well. There are a lot of games I also manually mod. Like 7 Days to Die, I manually mod. And various others, but I think it's definitely a toss-up between the two, depending on the game. So we are now heading straight for solar orbit. It looks like we are going in a counterclockwise direction. I believe everything is basically going counterclockwise. But let's go ahead and time warp out to here. And we've only used half of our fuel for the lower stage. Yeah, it is a classic. It's definitely a fun game. Definitely fun to mod. But there does reach a point where... Why is my apoapsis still pulling me back in here? Oh. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like the mem has struck again. It is pulling us back into Kerbin's sphere of influence. We're going to look at where we are. Where is down? We need to escape that. Get back into solar orbit. So that moon has been an absolute nightmare for the past 24 hours, roughly. I did not expect it to be this much of a problem. However, because it's such a problem, I'm just going to leave it there. Because, to be completely fair, I did troll you guys yesterday. And if you haven't seen what it looks like up close, then you definitely have to go back to yesterday's live and watch that. But I did troll you guys for the most part. So now it's trolling me, and it is trolling me badly. So, as you guys just saw, I am out into solar orbit, but then I stopped the engines and let them cool off a bit, and I started getting pulled right back into its orbit. It was a little bit silly. That's probably why it is aptly named the Silly Planet. Because it makes all of your orbital lines silly and your maneuver plans sillier. We're going to go ahead and fast forward time just a little bit to see where we end up on this. Okay, maybe a little bit faster. Alright, we're somewhere. Oh, no. Yep, yes, no, maybe. We are in solar orbit. There we go. Alright, so now I want to add a maneuver node here. Okay, we are going way too fast for it to be there. So we're gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna add it on the other side of it. Here. Add maneuver. Zoom out just a little bit. And pull this out. Alright, so there's that part of it. We are still on the same plane. Maybe we'll take a quick trip to Duna and see what all of that is about. I have done 0 testing with this rocket because you guys just watched me build it from scratch. I have not been to Duna in a very long time. So I don't even remember what I'm supposed to do to get into Duna's sphere of influence. But we're just going to kind of go out here and see what happens. Oh, I was supposed to start the burn already. There we go. We can get rid of that now. We're going to add another one at the apoapsis. It's not the greatest place to do it, but we're going to do it anyways. And we're going to circularize right there and see what we can do about getting an encounter with Duna. We're going to time warp over to there and click on our maneuver direction. Not a whole lot to see out here in the darkness of space. Something I did not think about is the amount of monopropellant that I would need. I forgot about that. So we did not put any extra monopropellant in here. And that is moving a very large amount. I also forgot to put lights on it so we can see it. Why is that moving so much? We'll just ignore it. Alright, we are a minute and 12 seconds past when we were supposed to burn. We're going to go ahead and do that. There we go. I burned a little extra just so I can go over to the periapsis, which is a minute, or no, an hour away. So that's plenty of time. And we're just going to rotate this ever so slightly in this direction. And that should give us a decent line. Roughly. We're kind of on the outside, but we're also kind of on the inside. So we should probably bring this out just a little bit as well. So that way it will be going faster and inevitably we will get an encounter. A squeaky door every time rockets turn. Yeah, that's about what I hear. That might just be the tinnitus. All right, we are moving over to where we need to be. We're going to go ahead and time warp to our burn. We have about 152 seconds of Delta V left. And let that finish turning that direction. And that should be close enough. And that is moving so much. We'll call that close enough. Oof. Having those engines that close together is rough on the frame rate. There we go. Jump over to the map because that disappears every now and then. Alright, so we are kind of sort of there. I'd like to bring it out slightly. Wrong direction. Just a little bit so we're just entirely on the outside. There we go. Jebediah and the gang is content with the mission so far? Yeah, they I feel like they're a little bit more than just content. They look excited. You know, I did overhear them talking about wanting to go a little bit further than the moon and the Mun Junior and the Mem. So now we are heading over to Duna. I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, fast forwarding. Wait, do I really have to fast forward that far? Sure, why not? A lot of time warp. Looks like we are not too far out. I feel like something's happened somewhere that caused us to slow down prematurely. We're almost 3 minutes out for an 11-second burn time. I'm gonna go ahead and speed up time just a little bit. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Okay, we are past our burn time. Way past the burn time. There we go. So we are on the outside of its orbit. So somewhere in here we should have an encounter. Eve and Duna are the only planets you've been to? Well, there are, you know, a decent number of them to go to. You have, if I zoom in here, there we go. Moho, Eve, Duna, Dress, Jewel, and Elu. And they all have their own moons and stuff you can go explore as well. So what do you guys think? Should I fast forward until there's somewhat of an encounter somewhere, or should I plan it out carefully? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. And while you guys are coming up with an idea, I'm going to get myself a drink real quick. All right, have you guys decided? You did an accidental flyby of Jewel? Yeah, that's pretty easy to do. So you guys haven't told me what you want me to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward time and see what happens. You want me to try to use a maneuver node? So we'll try to get it a little bit closer to us because it is going a lot faster than us for the most part. And then I can try bringing it in. But I want to get it at least a little bit close. It's just taking a little bit longer than I expected it to. You think I should match its plane? So if I match its plane, then I'll be going pretty much the same speed. And what will happen is if I try to make any form of maneuver around it, it's just going to stay the same distance away. So now, I do believe, now that the MEM isn't messing with our orbital lines, I should be able to add a maneuver here and bring our line in ever so slightly. That's the wrong one. Whoops. I think I had it there for a second. There it is. So over here, I should have an encounter, but very rapidly after, it looks like I lose my encounter. So the second I get that encounter, I'm going to have to rapid burn to get orbit. So we're going to try. We're going to flip it around there. We're going to fast forward to our burn. Are we landing or orbiting? We're going to get into orbit. And then by that point, you guys should be able to make a decision to see if we should land or if we should just move on to the next one. We have 8,767 meters of delta V left. So we have plenty to work with. 30 seconds out from the burn. We're going to do this very carefully. It's only a 9-second burn. Eventually we should get there. Oh, 5 seconds. 2, 1, burn. There we go. So eventually we are going to get an encounter. So we're going to do this really carefully. I think if I zoom in here somewhere, there should be some form. There's the encounter, but then there's the escape. I'm going to fast forward time very carefully to get as close as we possibly can. And it looks like we are basically there. Can we see it? That is the question. we cannot. There's something going on over here. So we're going to speed up just a little bit. Itty bitty little bit more. Because now we're getting into some very sketchy water. Almost at our encounter. A little bit glitchy there for a second. And it looks like it's kind of a... It disappeared. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Tiny little rock right there. And I feel like if we time warp to here, we'll have a better chance of getting an idea of where we need to be. Because this is going to take us into an entirely different orbit around this area. So I'm going to get as close to this as I can get. And then if I play my cards correctly, 6 minutes 40 seconds out, I think we can go just a little bit faster. I don't want to go too fast because we all know what happens when I accidentally hit the next speed up. Knowing the way our luck has gone so far, I will be out here, speed up a little bit too fast, and somehow we will land on the Mun Junior or in the ocean somewhere in Kerbal or Kerbin. Minute and 20 seconds out. We're going to zoom in just a little bit more here. And we're going to warp to here. And the second we have... Ah, there it is. Add maneuver. Can I circularize? Ooh, what is going on there? Well, that's how I circularize Duna. Somehow. Oh, there we go. There it is. And it looks like our burn is in 5 minutes to circularize. This is a very finicky maneuver. Not sure if this is going to work or not. I don't know where the maneuver node is, but we're just going to see what happens. Because that is exactly what we always do. I'm going to fast forward time over to the maneuver node as soon as that settles itself out. We have no more monopropellant. We are moving all sorts of places. I'm going to fast forward time. And 1 minute out. This is the tightest window I have ever had to do a burn in. And it has to be exact. We cannot go over by any. 3, 2, 1, burn. There it is. We have orbit around Duna. It is really far away. We can't really see it currently. The mem escapes Kerbin and captures and drags you back to Kerbin. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this point with the way our luck has been going, and especially with the influence that that moon has. Jump over to periapsis. Add maneuver. And where is... get rid of that. Get rid of that. Add maneuver. There we go. And we're gonna... Whoa, geez, that was way too much. And the wrong direction. I'm gonna bring it down to here. I don't think the gravity's that much, so we shouldn't have any real issues. Now we're gonna jump over to here, add maneuver to bring it down even further. So we will start with that first one there. And we're gonna get nice and close. Now the key factor here is when I stage these lower engines, what will happen to the rest of the rocket? That is going to be the key factor. You just use thrusters to land on Duna? Yeah, that's pretty much what we would do if that's the choice that we make at that point. So we're going to fast forward to our maneuver node. There we go. We're, hopefully anyways, facing the right direction. 55 seconds out. We're going to do this really carefully, and I'm going to time warp as I always do. And burn. Oh, that's a much shorter burn than I thought it was going to be. I was not paying attention to how big that was going to be. So now the question is, what exactly... Oh, that's not that bad. We can make that work. We have a weird plane, but we can also make that work. We'll straighten that out after. Yeah, the burn time jump scared me. It went down way quicker than I thought it was. I looked at it, I saw like 12, and I just assumed it was like a 12-second burn. And not 1.2. This is a 0.9-second burn. I usually pay attention to that stuff. And in 10 seconds, we're going to let this timer count down because I do not want to take the chance on time warping past it. And there it is. Stop, 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 stop. Way too much. It did not shut off for me. That's okay. We can definitely get closer. We're going to add another one there. And we're going to bring this... Whoops, wrong direction. Way down here, and then we're going to get an encounter with Ike. So I think, just for the sake of going to Duna, I'm going to bring it to there. That brings us mostly out of its sphere of influence. We still have plenty of Delta V left. Ike steals all the attention when trying to orbit Duna. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, to be fair, it is an itty-bitty little tiny moon that's rotating around an itty-bitty tiny little planet. So, I mean, I don't blame it. I'm going to go ahead and warp to our maneuver, because we, I think we passed it. I'm going to do an entire orbit around. hit our maneuver node. It is only a 1 second burn. Little old Ike and small old Duna. Gonna go ahead and time warp. Five seconds out. And this is only a 1 second burn, so I'm gonna do it really carefully and very slowly. There we go. And then we're going to add another maneuver node here. And I think I'll hit this button this time. It'll get a nice circular orbit. I mean, it's not really perfection, but it's about as close as I can get it to perfection. I'm kind of curious as to how close we can get before it starts dragging us down. But I think we'll land. I think that's what we'll do. We'll try to land this weird looking rocket that has no landing legs. And a stage that might disassemble the entire thing. Go ahead and time warp over to our maneuver. And then once we get into circular orbit, we're going to adjust our height to match. Go ahead and time warp again. I'm using the time warp kind of a lot. And we're past our burn. There we go. So this was only a test for the main rocket. And just the same as way back in the first live stream with KSP, the proof of concept flight turned into a crash landing on the Mun, which resulted in multiple rescue missions of rescue missions that eventually ended several live streams later with the final actual rescue of the entire crew of, I can't remember how many we stranded on there. I know a few of them got back on their own. But I also know a few of them, or a good number of them, I rescued one at a time. Or a couple at a time. Alright, so now we're going to go the wrong direction. Bring this to a nice equatorial orbit. Or at least very close. Periapsis is still pretty high. But we can work with that, adding that there. And bringing this to... Now, if you remember, if you line up your lines on your orbit, and then drag your maneuver to match, you can pretty much get a perfect orbital line. There we go. So we're going to do our initial burn to get in the general area. Yeah, so if we end up crashing on Duna, then it will have to be a rescue mission. We can't just leave a bunch of Kerbals stranded on Duna. However, if you've been watching the clock, I actually don't even know how long I've been doing this for now. It has not been that long. So it shouldn't take us long if we do have to. But I am definitely hoping we do not have to rescue them. I'm going to do my best not to strand them. So we are a minute out from our burn. I'm going to go ahead and time warp again. Last night. Oh, we are 30 seconds past our burn. Perfect-ish. Minus the, you know, being way past the burn time. We're going to get lined up for our second one. So last night I said I wasn't going to use time warp, and then I started using time warp, and then I started saying that I know that I said that I wasn't going to use time warp, but I'm going to use time warp. And now tonight I'm just going to use time warp because that took a little bit too long not using it. And then if I'm going to use it and then also say that I'm not going to use it, then I may as well say that I'm going to use it. Come on, give it to me. There's our circularization burn that I just burned way too much. We are on a very even plane now with the equator of Duna. So now the only thing to do now is go over to the apoapsis. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to warp to here. Okay, so we're going the opposite direction of what I want to be. Relatability? Yeah, that's a word. So now, just like last night, we are going to go ahead and add a periapsis maneuver to completely flip our direction from clockwise to counterclockwise. So now we're going to get that lined back up so it's nice and even. And hopefully this works. This worked last night. However, it is never guaranteed to actually work every time. But we are going to slow down to the point of completely stopping in the middle of space and then switch around and go the entirely opposite direction. We're going to go ahead and time warp to that maneuver. Yeah, the more people hit the like button, the more people subscribe, the more people comment and chat, the more YouTube's algorithm pushes this out to people that have not seen my channel before. So it is definitely great to see new viewers. I appreciate all of you. And don't forget to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps me out. All right, we are 35 seconds out. I am going to focus on this so we don't mess this up too badly. And I almost messed it up too badly. All right, we have completely switched our direction from clockwise to counterclockwise. So now we're moving in the exact same direction as Duna. We're going to go ahead and warp to here. We're going to switch to retrograde. We have plenty of delta V left. Ooh, there was a lunar eclipse for a second there. Let's see if we can see the planet. Are we close enough to see? Yeah, there it is. There is Duna. Yeah, the maneuvers to completely switch your direction of travel can be incredibly complicated because that is usually when the Kraken goes for you. So I'm going to bring my periapsis down. I have no idea. I can't remember where exactly Duna starts pulling you in. So for the sake of burning off a little bit more speed, we're going to go ahead and go down to 100,000 meters. Almost exactly. We're going to add a maneuver here to circularize. Let's hope the enemy space programs lure away the Krakens. How you doing, Harrison? It's good to see you back. So what you've missed, because I know that's going to be the second question, is we have done a test launch of a rocket that we built during the beginning of the live. One of you guys decided to say that we should build it in a way that will attract the Kraken, so we did a rough estimate of that. And now the test flight has landed us, well, it brought us into the orbit of Duna, and now we're going to move in nice and close and try to land with this right here. This spacecraft right here. I know it's a little bit difficult to see. YouTube makes things a lot darker than I'm seeing it. But this is 8 fuel tanks, 8 boosters, or engines rather, all jammed into a small little area on top of a massive battery that has 8 electric engines jammed on the inside of it. You want to see what planets or moons the Kraken likes the most? Well, we found out in the first like 5 lives that the Mun and the crater within the Mun that the Kerbals were stranded in was the absolute place for him to be. Or her. So, that's a good start. So, the moons are probably your best bet for finding the Kraken. Complicatedly complicated? Yes. That is 90% of my gaming. Completely complicated for absolutely no reason other than it's fun. We are flopping around kind of a lot. This thing has been moving around a huge amount. The connection in there underneath all of these nose cones. Been doing all sorts of weird things. We're going to go ahead and fast forward to our maneuver. That is close. That is scary close. I thought for sure we were going to crash. It is only a 3-second burn, so we're going to go ahead and time warp just a little bit. There we go. Jump back out to the map screen real quick so I can get rid of that. So we are now at just under 100,000 meters above Duna. We're going to jump over to our periapsis. Do a test flight to see if ion engines do heat, so then you can put it inside the rocket. So the engines that I have in there currently are 100% electric. It does not they don't take xenon or anything like that. And they don't produce heat as far as I have seen. Now I could be completely wrong. And the second I light them off, they just do bad things. However, I could be possibly right. That is moving around so much. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to land this. So, the only way to land it is just to do it. So I'm going to bring our speed down. Right for here. And then warp to here. And hope nothing bad happens. Coming in a little bit quick. But we're going to keep this retrograde so that way we can burn off all of our speed and land. I don't really like what that looks like there. Oh, that is moving a lot. So we're going to burn off a little bit more speed. try to aim for right up in here somewhere. Yeah, I think we could probably do that. That right there is where we're shooting for. Now, I've seen people use mods that give you like a trajectory and a little X on the ground where you're going to land. I personally don't use anything like that because, again, this is my personal opinion. I feel like it's kind of cheating. I like to just kind of see what happens and hope for the best. Now, I can tell you right now, we're not going to land right over here where I wanted to, but we're going to land relatively close. We're going to change that to land because we are definitely not over water. You think it's a 50% chance that I land without tipping? Well, let's hope that that number is accurate. I'm trying to shoot for over here, it looks like. I think that might be more realistic, but there again, I might land like right here on the edge of a cliff and then just fall over. There's always that chance. I'm going to go ahead and time warp just a little bit because I can definitely burn my speed off pretty quick. Okay, we're at 17,000 meters. We're going to slow down now. Quite literally, in fact. Coming in a little bit quicker than I wanted to. Like this spot at Duna? I can't remember the context. It looks like we are falling into a place where it might be a little bit of a tough place to land. But we are under 10,000 meters. I'm landing on a mountain, yeah. Yeah, I am. But, I mean, we can see what happens with it. How bad can it be? I know I say that, and usually all of the bad things happen. But you never know. Never know till you try, and that's how we started this whole thing. Looks like I am moving a little bit. We're getting very close. 3,000 meters. $2,000 meters. Let's hope Jebediah doesn't fumble this mission. Yeah, he said that he got plenty of sleep and had plenty of coffee. So I'm trusting that he actually has. And nothing bad happens. We're at 700 meters. Looks really rocky down there. I don't know how I feel about that. $300 meters. $70 meters. Oh! Uh, well, that happened. So it looked like it was going to be a really nice, easy landing, and then there's definitely a crack in here. There is definitely a crack in here. They were expecting oh yeah, that was 100% Kraken Army for sure, because that was a very smooth landing, and all I did was just barely touch a tiny little pebble, and the whole rocket went kablooey. Now let's go back to the Space Center and see if Jebediah and the rest of his crew are still there. Hopefully that was just a simulation. If it'll let us go back there. That was a little weird. Let's go ahead and check, and looks like we have 3 missing. So if they're missing, maybe they survived, and we might have to do a trip back there. However, what do you guys think? Should we do another trip to Duna and try to find them? It was just a dream. Yeah, maybe it was just a dream. You never really know. You guys want to do another mission? Do you want to use this rocket, or do you want to use a proven rocket? Because I do have a proven rocket we can use. Unmanned probe mission? Alright. Let's go ahead and jump over to here. Jump over to this one. Modified Duna supported rocket. That would be this one right here. So this one can go pretty much anywhere in the solar system. And it can land mostly. And it's got the electric engines in it as well. So this is an unmanned probe rocket, and I can deorbit the boosters and the lower stage manually. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with it. Oh, actually, I got to do some changes first. We're going to drop that down to here. That goes over there. That goes to that right there, which launches into that, which goes to that. And we also have parachutes. This one was used yesterday, and it, for the most part, worked until I landed on Minmus and landed sideways, and one of the grip pads grabbed onto the ground and just basically glitched the whole game out to lock me into landed, so I couldn't maneuver out. I couldn't make my way back to Kerbin, and now that probe is in solar orbit indefinitely. So it works. Mostly. Landing pads up. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Low gravity can flip you over something? Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely flipped. I think a few times. I'm going to hit the SAS and the RCS because both are needed. We're going to bring up the landing gear. And for those of you just joining us, we did a test flight of a Kraken rocket. A Kraken rocket that seemed to have worked perfectly going all the way to Duna. And then the second we touched a grain of sand, the entire thing went all over the place in every possible direction you could imagine. TNR for SAS and RCS, yes, I can. However, I've been just clicking on them for so many years at this point that it's just second nature for me to just go over and click them. All right, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, launch. And we are on our way to space for the second time. Now, in theory, if I do this correctly, I might have enough fuel left to be able to launch these boosters into the sun. But I'm not sure how much we're going to need. When I did launch the boosters into the sun, I was still in solar orbit around the Kerbal area, or the Kerbin area. We're doing a nighttime launch, mostly because I forgot to, fast forward to day. All right, take care, Harrison. We'll jump over to the map to see where we are. I can't remember how far out. It's not very far at all. So we might actually use up most of the fuel in these boosters just trying to get out of here. It says we are at an orbital level, so we're going to keep going up. We're just going to launch straight out of Kerbin influence into solar orbit because we have plenty of fuel to do so. Right now we have a grand total of 12,600 meters of delta V. Let's hope we can find Jeb and his gang. Yeah, that would be good if we can find them. It says they're missing, so we'll hope for it. In theory, we should be sticking out of Kerbin a little bit further here. Go ahead and zoom way out here because we have to get past the MEM, as it was aptly named yesterday. That is definitely a nightmare moon that has influence all the way out to like right here and out to solar orbit. And it looks like I think we are actually going in a decent direction to be able to make this work. We're moving out with the orbit, so we're kind of getting a boost from that. Meme level influence, yeah, exactly. Well, that was the idea. The whole moon is a meme. And for those of you just showing up, I did a live yesterday where I built the hype for this moon right here. And I guess you guys are going to have to go check out that live to see how amazing it looks. Burn just a little bit extra to make sure we have 0 influence with that moon. And in theory, we should be able to warp to here. And be out of the sphere of influence of Kerbin and the Silly Planet. There we go. Okay. We are in solar orbit. We have plenty of fuel left in these boosters. So what I think I'm going to do, come out here. I will set this as target. What on earth is going on over here? See if I can get over here just enough to be able to see exactly what's going on. Oh, that's way over there. Whoops, too far. Come on, let me have it. It's not gonna let me have it. Trying to figure out what exactly those are over there, but I guess we'll find out when we get over there. Which is easier, Eve or Duna? Realistically, Eve is easier to land on, but harder to take off from. And Duna is probably easier than the Mun to land on and take off from. And that's just my opinion. Now, granted, we just crashed into it, so there's that. So you know what? I'm going to unset that target, and we're going to come out here. Add a maneuver, circularize, and bring that out to about here. There we go. We're going to bring this over. That looks a little bit better. We're going to very slowly maneuver our way into that direction. Why is my landing gear not doing things? Uh-oh. Not really a crash, it was more of an attack. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I was landing very nicely until the Kraken decided to show up. I feel like my landing gear is somehow out. Why did my landing gear come out? That's not a good sign. So we're going to go ahead and put that back up and hope it doesn't lower itself again. I really hope something didn't break while we were getting out here. Let that go all the way in before we warp to our maneuver. It stopped us 4.5 minutes out. I mean, I guess that's close enough. There we go. That's better. 38-second burn and go. Yeah, with the boosters, this is not the most efficient rocket. But at least we have plenty of Delta V to work with. Way more than enough, for sure. I'm pretty sure there's way more than enough. I don't foresee us needing to actually use the electric engines for the purpose of getting anywhere. We're definitely going to use it to land because that's how we're going to get the landing legs. There we go. Apoapsis is out here, so I'm going to go ahead and add a maneuver here and circular at. Ooh. Well, there's that. Why am I way out here? Let's go ahead and delete that. And delete that. Oh, that's why. So we're going to add a maneuver node here and circularize. That looks a lot better. A little bit far out, but better. Actually, before we do that, I am going to bring this in just a little bit. I said in, not out. To about here. And that should be okay-ish. Yeah, that caught me off guard. I did not expect that to be way out here. You know, I expected it to be right here, where I intended for it to be. And then it was like, no, I'm just going to be out here way away from anything associated with anything that might be possibly associated with what you might be intending to possibly do. We're going to fast forward to our burn now. You would have reacted the same way? Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit strange being way out there. We are 3 minutes out past our burn. Why did we go so far beyond our burn time? I feel like the Kraken might have something to do with this. Because now all of our maneuvers are doing all of the weird things. But I think at some point we might get captured by Duna. Even a tiny little capture will do good things. The Krakens are advancing. I think they are. We're going to fast forward time here, probably a little quicker than we should, but we have to make it there eventually, because this has to go all the way around to get close to us. I'm going to do that because why not? If you get dizzy easy, turn away. I'll let you know when you can look back. Oh, wait, no, it's too late. There we go. Now we're nice and close. Well, we're close-ish. We're close enough that we should be able to speed up ever so slightly and not add a maneuver node. Come on, give it to me. Give me the encounter. I don't want to speed up more. I'm speeding up more. We are way far away. I wonder what would happen if we added a maneuver node here. Just like we did last time and got an encounter. That's the wrong one. That looks a little bit better. Stop doing things. Somewhere in here we might get an encounter. Possibly. Anywhere. That's probably not a good idea to do that. So we're gonna have to bring this down a little bit. So I think the periapsis was actually pretty good for distance. We're gonna circularize on that. Somehow we're inside of it now. So let's move this. Put it over here. Anything? Yeah, so I added the maneuver to, or the maneuver node to the periapsis to get nice and close, but it circularizes it on the inside somehow. How are the horses doing that I'm working with? They're doing pretty well. Actually, some of them are advancing faster than others. That's pretty typical. Every horse is different. And I haven't had a horse try to unalive me in a while, so I'm in need of a new form of adrenaline rush, so I'm gonna have to find more clients and find some more crazy horses to work with. Yeah, so it's still sticking me on the inside there, but the outside here, so I'm kind of floating around in here somewhere. So I'm curious as to if I can maybe push that out just a little bit. to here. That looks pretty good. We're gonna fast forward to there. It's only 4 minutes away. It's only a 9-second burn. I'll stretch that out a little bit. We're time warping very slowly, so I feel like I should probably time warp some more. We'll let the 15 seconds go by. And burn. We'll burn a little quicker this time. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, it looks a lot better. So now, because we are way over here and Duna is way over here and we are both going the same direction, I think it would be a good idea to time warp rapidly until Duna is on the other side. If you get dizzy easy, look away now, and I'll let you know when to look. Oh wait, no, it's too late again. Oh, I tried. And it looks like we're getting close, getting closer, getting semi-close, kind of close, and before you know it, we are probably going to pass right about now. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. Kind of curious as to if I can get this in a little bit closer, but I also kind of don't want to push my luck. I feel like it's in a good place that I should be able to get an encounter. So let's see what we can do. What do you guys think? Is this time warp a little bit easier on the eyes than spinning around in circles? We're getting close. Getting really close. It looks like because it's still taking us way on the outside, we're not going to get our encounter. So I'll add a maneuver node here and just kind of see what this will do. Wait, I saw something. Drag it out really slowly. Really slowly. Okay, maybe a little faster. Oh, there it is. Wait, hold on. Wait, there it is. Yes. So we have a decent encounter way over here, probably about, yeah, 136 days ahead. So we're going to accept that because it was the first one to show up. So we're going to jump over to our maneuver position. Fast forward time 7 hours to our burn, which is only 2 seconds. Now, if you can tell me what movie that series of words was used in a comedic fashion, it was probably before your time, Cam. I'm not sure how old you are, but some of the older people, probably closer to my age, might know a certain Mel Gibson movie. E seconds out. Let's go ahead and do that burn. There we go. Almost exact. We still have our encounter over there. Hopefully it stays there. And it looks like I deleted the maneuver node and it disappeared. So we're going to go ahead and warp to here and see what we can get. Wait, we have something. We had something. Past tense. If we fast forward nice and slow, maybe something else will show up. Possibly. Yes. Oh, we are getting so close. We are like right there. Zoom in a little bit closer. And time warp a little bit more. Using the broken piece of spacecraft sitting on the ground on Duna somewhere. To see if we can't get an encounter. Not really getting much of a line to work with here. I wonder if I slow down just a tiny little bit. Although the lines cross over there. All I have to work with to figure out where I am is this tiny little untitled spacecraft debris. You think you can see it? That's Jewel over there. That's Kerbin. I am not seeing it anywhere. Guess whose birthday is tomorrow? I'm assuming it's yours. If the association of context is correct. Wait, we have contact. There we go. I just had to slow down a little bit. So we're to get contact there. Way up here. So we will zip our way over to there. Vickers' birthday? Come on, we are so close. And we have 17 seconds to contact. Just out of curiosity, we're gonna hit all of the wrong buttons, do all of the wrong things, get a bunch of flashing lights that nobody likes, and somehow get launched out of Duna orbit. Somewhere in here is a line that I can work with. It's glitched out, but we're gonna click on that, add a maneuver, circularize, and somehow be circularized around the sun. Oh boy. Let's go ahead and get our contact and see what happens with that. We're gonna time warp just a little bit. It's right there. I can see it. Maybe if I slow down time. He was a Russian rock musician? Okay. that. Slow down ever so slightly. I'm assuming we can add a maneuver here and circularize that way. There we go. We have circularization. As soon as we do it. In 5 hours and 24 minutes. I'll make you guys wait the entire 5 hours and 24 minutes. I'm just kidding. I'm just going to fast forward. Who's in the band Kino? Alright, we are a minute out from the 1 second burn. It is exactly 1.0 seconds. As always, I'll stretch that out kind of a lot. I'm not going to push my luck with that, because I am really good at pushing my luck. 2, 1, 0. Too far. Way too far. Somehow did all of the bad things, and now I have no idea what I'm doing. Add maneuver. Circularize. 0.4 second burn, 9 hours away. Go ahead and time warp to there. I don't have very many opportunities to make this work. So I'm going to start that burn. And it looks like it's gonna fling me out, so I'm gonna keep that burn going. Ever so slightly this way, and circularized. Perfect. We are there. I'll jump over to here. I am going to add a maneuver, and I am going to bring this down till I can see the tiny little dot of a rock. Whoop, too far. Way too far. There we go. And we're gonna go over to here, add a maneuver, and bring this down. Ooh. This down to here. There we go. In theory, we should not be affected by Duna's moon. Hopefully. You saw Jebediah pack Kraken treats before he left while watching security camera footage? I mean, that's a good explanation for it. I would be inclined to accept that. Jebediah does have a very long history of fumbling missions for us, so I wouldn't put it past him. We still have 777 meters of Delta V. I think that's a good amount to have. I think it's almost exactly the amount we need to make this burn. We're gonna go out here and go explore our area. Not a whole lot to see out here. We have Jewel way out here, we have Kerbin way over here, and we have a vast expanse of nothing here. Back to the map screen, and we are 21 days from the burn, so we're gonna go ahead and fast forward. Alright, we are just about there. Getting close, kind of there, sort of. Still a minute and 13 seconds out with a 1 second burn. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. 2, 1, and slow down time, so 5 seconds left. And as always, I'm going to stretch this burn out just a little bit, because I do not want to go too far. Perfect. Exactly. Get rid of that one. Head back over to the map, zoom in just a little bit. We can see what we're working with. We're going to go ahead and fast forward to our periapsis. We're in a rough plane with Duna's moon, with Ike. Yeah, that one was good. I didn't expect to land exactly on it. So our periapsis is where it says it is. 45 seconds to burn. We're going to fast forward. This is a 2-second burn that I will stretch out again. Oh, I fast forwarded way too much, and we are at our burn. Oh, too far. I was paying attention to the pretty colors on the screen over here as we were going in and out of the influence of Ike. I wonder what would happen if I burn just a little bit more. I will get all of the Ike encounters. So I am going to switch around here very slowly because we have 620 meters per second left. And I'm going to put us back into the proper orbit. Ike does not want me at doing it. Yeah, that is correct. Ike is trying to make me go to Ike. And I don't want to go to Ike. So we're going to burn just ever so slightly back out to here. There. Ooh, almost. Yep. Nope, maybe. Yep, there we go. So now, before I do something that is not exactly the most intelligent thing to do, I'm going to add a warp maneuver, or a maneuver node here. And I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way and hope for the best. Bring that way down. Oops. Ike has a lot to say about that. Bring it just about to there. And because nobody's telling me no, I'm going to go ahead and warp to the maneuver node. Take a quick look around, see what our surroundings have for us. There is nothing to note. There's space. There's a lot of space. Wonder what it would cost to buy space at a square foot rate. If it is the emptiness of space, how much does the emptiness cost per square foot? And just like that, we are going to burn. There we go. What does infinity look like? That is a good question. It depends on which definition of infinity you want to use, whether it's defined by a numerical value or a value of time. On the surface, you could look at both as the same, or you could look at time and numerical value separately with space as its own separate category as well. Or you can look at space as the fabric that it claims to be. And then you have the space, you have the time, and you have the continuum. And yes, I know exactly what I said. All right, we are at our maneuver node, just about 54 seconds out. This one is looking a little sketchy. I'm going to burn slightly closer to it, and there it is. Close enough. There we go. Perfect-ish. I'm going to jump over to the periapsis, add a maneuver node over to there, and we're going to rotate to an even plane. Looks like my guess was just about there. One click off. Swing around to our maneuver. However, we are at 255 meters of delta V left in these boosters. I feel like it's going to dump it all into the main engine, which I feel like I should probably stage out. So before we do anything, we have 21 minutes to our maneuver. I'm going to check on fuel. These are completely full. This has a little bit left. I feel like this is enough to deorbit, so I'm going to go ahead and stage these now. And now that those are staged, I'm going to jump over to this one. I'm going to swing it around to retrograde. Jump over to the map, and I am going to go ahead and burn the last of the fuel to deorbit them. Alright, that one is deorbited. Somewhere around here, I feel like I have a rocket that I should probably get back to. There they are. Switch. Did I get the right one? Cinematic for deorbiting a booster? Yeah, I think so. So we did get the right one. We're going to switch that to retrograde. And deorbit. Whoops, wrong button. Oop, too far. That's what happens when all your buttons are all in the same place. Go to the map, make sure I deorbited that correctly. I did. So now that one is falling to Duna, roughly. We're going to jump over to this one. And because we are already at Duna and we do need this lander to actually work properly, and the booster spins in frustration after you press buttons. Yes, it did. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and get rid of this stage, even though there's plenty of fuel left in it. And I will jump over to that one. Flip over to retrograde. Let's see if we can find the missing Kerbals. Yeah, I think we could probably do that. And just because we have more than enough fuel, I'm going to deorbit this, and I'm going to try to land it. And I'm also going to fast forward time once I start heading to the downward direction. Just make sure we are not just going back into orbit. We almost were. Warp to here. That should spin to retro by that point. Make sure we have enough electric charge left. Every now and then I don't. I should just put a power supply there. We'll wait till this settles out before we do anything else. Switch this over to land because we are not over water. I don't see any water anywhere except for maybe these ice caps that are probably liquid methane. Go ahead and slow us down a little bit here. And then speed up time. Because we all know what this does. Probably slow down now. That looks like a pretty interesting sunrise, sunset, sun something. We'll go ahead and slow down. This is not the most powerful of engines, but I still have a thrust to weight ratio of 10. So we should be okay. And the only reason I am landing this is just for proof of concept. To make sure the whole planet isn't crackened. We have entered the so-called atmosphere. As it has slowed us down. So I may as well slow myself down. What I'll do is I will bring this down to about here and speed up. Taking a while to get down there. But eventually we might hit the ground. Whether at speed or not, I'm not entirely sure. Should probably think about slowing down. 11,000 meters. I will bring us down to under 1,000 meters per second. Or under 100 meters per second, rather. This is very orange. 7,000 meters. I'll bring this down a little bit quicker, I think. Nothing bad has ever happened when hitting time warp as you land. Slow down now. The bottom of your bag of Cheetos. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of does look like the bottom of a bag of Cheetos. Let's see if I can balance the speed exactly. Well, that won't happen twice. Mostly because my thrust to weight ratio just went down too far. $150 meters. Switch that to here. 8, 7, going too fast, or too slow rather. Not too fast, no, too slow, too fast. 2, let's hold it around there. Almost, and we have bounce off. There, we have touchdown. And we didn't break apart. What am I going to do for Father's Day? Well, I can't really say because I'm not entirely sure if my father is watching or not, or will watch beforehand, so now that we have proven that we can in fact put something on Duna without the Kraken attacking it, I'm going to go ahead and jump out to here, switch to this, and let's see if we can land this. Alright, so we are 2 minutes beyond our burn time. I'm not entirely sure what I was doing with this. Oh yes, I was doing this. Well, I mean, may as well continue. Should probably stage those out so they actually do something. 2, 1, 0, and done. There, we are relatively flat-ish, kind of, sort of, but not actually, but it will be good enough. We're going to switch around to retro. We're going to go ahead and deorbit ourselves here and try to land as close as we can to where we just landed. Or the crash site. Crash site would be a good one. That works. I can definitely work with that. And as we come down a little bit quick, I should probably put the landing legs out just to be safe. I feel like retrograde isn't retrograde, but it might be. Landing legs are out. We'll head over to the map and time warp to about here because oh, bad things, very bad things. I am so glad I caught that because we are going over this way, not the other way. It looks like it couldn't flip over. Oh, it can absolutely flip over. I proved that last night. You're gonna flip over the orbit. Well, it's a little bit too late now. We're going this direction, so I'm gonna have to make this work. I mean, I suppose I could. I'm gonna have plenty of electric power. Add a maneuver. Right there, circularize. Jump over to this direction here. Burn time in 10 seconds. And just barely save this. We're back in orbit. We're going too far into orbit. Spin around retro. Very upset at 200,000. I would much rather that be a lot lower. So bring that down just a tiny little bit, down to about 100-ish. There we go. And I'm also going to add a maneuver node here. Add maneuver. And flop over. Just like that. Okay, just like that. Switch over to this. And hit the fast forward for the hour and 2 minutes. And we are going to burn now. Because it's close enough. We are now out of orbit and falling towards Duna. And I'm staying out of the map screen, so if we've made it or not will be a complete mystery. Perfect burn. And we are in orbit around Duna, going the opposite direction now. Now, my question is, why exactly did we do that? Oh yeah, that's right, to go in the same generalized direction as Duna. Got it. And we're just doing this maneuver at the periapsis to circularize completely at about 82,000 meters. We all know I'm going to burn well before that, and it's going to be all sorts of weird. As soon as that lines up, and we'll burn that down. Till the apoapsis is well above the periapsis. Close enough. Apoapsis 83.7, periapsis 74.8. So now I want to warp to here. There we go. Actually, I want to warp to here. That way when I swing around to retro, can move this out of the way, because that was... I don't remember why that was sitting right there. Go ahead and deorbit. And see if we can't land on Duna. And we're going to time warp to here. Now that we're going the correct direction, I remember why I was doing that now. And we're going to let it spin itself around to where it needs to be. I don't for the life of me remember where I was going to land. Or why. Oh yeah, I was going to land in here. I almost feel like that's probably going to be way too dangerous. I don't know if... oops, wrong button. I don't know if this engine is going to be able to slow us down enough fast enough. So we're going to land wherever we happen to be able to. I don't know if it's worth risking it at this stage of the game. Only because technically I can land it. I have antenna that I can extend. Yes, extends out of the side of this. And I do technically have parachutes. Wonder what would happen if I deployed my parachutes in Duna's non-existent atmosphere. Pretty sure they won't deploy. As always, as I'm crashing down to the ground, I'm going to time warp down to about 15,000. Let that settle out and slow us down. We're at 10,000. Set that to 5,000 there. And 5,000 there. just to see if they will actually, and oh, I'm going the wrong direction. Let's try going down. I'm going to speed up time, because that's taking forever. 7,000, 6,000. I'm going to slow down to normal time. Oh, they are in fact deploying. And they are fully deploying, slowing us down kind of a lot. That's a decent speed to slow down. Next set will deploy at 1,000 meters. So we will fast forward to then. I knew I added parachutes to this for a reason, like several days ago, without knowing exactly what I was going to do with this. It is still taking forever. Should I time warp more? Nah, I better not. We already dealt with a Kraken today. Let's hope they're far away from here and we don't see them again during this mission. We are almost there. 1,500 meters. Remember the past 2 streams with the Kraken attack? Yeah, that's why I'm thinking I just might leave it alone. And we have our second set of parachutes deployed. Dropping down at a nice little speed of 8.7 meters per second, which I will in fact slow down as we get closer. That's a good time to slow down. The time anyways. 130 meters. 100 meters. Slow down just ever so slightly. A little bit more I might do. There we go. And a nice, gentle landing on Duna. And of course, before everything blows up, we gotta do a good old-fashioned screenshot. And I do it this way just because it's quick and easy. Let it do that, go over here, click on that, and nothing bad could ever happen. And with that being said, we are going to end it there. If you like what you see and you haven't subscribed, 60% of you have not, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you on the next one.